All right, I smashed that tweet button.
We are live.
We are live.
We are. And we are also alive. With
We are alive.
the big man upstairs. Praise. Tom Cruise.
Of all the people you could have picked.
See, I always do that because I do it as like an Easy A reference where I forget what exactly it is that Jesus Amanda Bynes says to her. But then, like, what's her face? Emma Stone's like, Tom Cruise.
The thing is about that is Tom Cruise is a Scientologist.
Yeah. I think that's part of the joke.
Oh. Okay. Should we introduce ourselves?
We should. All right. I'm Leah.
I'm Sara.
And I am RC. And Val is not going to be able to join us today since she's actually feeling under the weather. So this time around, it's only 3 of us, which is a little bit weird because we've had like guests the last 2 times. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we're down 1 person. We're now down like 2 people. And now it's also kind of bordering on like the Fox streams.
Yeah, our movie streams that we've been doing.
Because we did a movie stream literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I was always, we always joke about there's 3 Bibliophiles now. And I always thought, if we ever did do a stream with 3 Bibliophiles, Val would not be the one who was missing.
Yeah, it would not be Val.
It would not be Val. But Val will be back next month with us, hopefully.
Yes.
And we will be back and better than ever. Okay, so our book for this month was Cemetery Booze, which is a double pun because spooky like booze like ghosts, and then also booze because we love. This is by Aiden.
The first time I've had the physical copy.
I think so too. Do we want to go into ratings?
I gave it 4 stars.
I am bordering between like a 3.5 and a 4.
Mm-hmm. I honestly I'm kind of the same on that. Mm-hmm. I felt that the first 2/3 were really, really strong for me. Mm-hmm. And the last third kind of dropped the ball a bit. And so that's what affected a lot of my rating.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
There was a lot about this book that I liked. And it definitely has more strengths than it does weaknesses, but there were things that just kind of kept sticking out to me.
Same.
And they weren't enough to make it like a book that I was like bored by, because it's not boring in the slightest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It just, there were things I was like, it could be better in places.
Yeah. There were actually several times reading it where I was like, is this going to be a 3.5 or 4? So I was also very much between the 2. I decided on a 4, but I agree with both of you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as is often the case with books that we read in this book club, I often feel not obligated, but I really, there's a lot that these books do in terms of like their social importance, and like Aiden Thomas is trans, Latinx, and queer. And so that, that's such an important thing. This book is so important. And so in a way, like I definitely do give books that I think do more socially higher ratings just because I feel like they're more impactful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Reagan. Thanks for popping in. We'll see you when you actually read the book.
Yeah.
I just realized I was still on the private chat tab. So when I saw Reagan's thing on the screen, I was like, Reagan hasn't even messaged. And then I realized I haven't smashed that comments tab.
Do we want to talk about things that we liked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And like they felt like realistic teens, but without being too like, I don't know, sometimes in like YA contemporary, I get frustrated with like the teenagers for like making stupid decisions, even though I know they're teenagers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like that didn't really happen in this one. And like usually I hate like especially young adult main characters like lying to people, but in this one it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. I feel like the strength of this book is its characters.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know his name. Yadriel has a really, really strong voice.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And I listened to this on audiobook, which I felt like really like boosted the experience with it. I adore Julian, like with my he's so much. I have such a soft spot for big dumb men. That's what he is. Yes. RC, what did you like?
Okay, so this is one of the things that I like vaguely talked about, and this maybe might go into spoilers, so I'll like be kind of vague about it since we haven't gone there yet. But I actually kind of really liked the route that the villain went in with this book, because I actually, from like 1 or 2 chapters in, I automatically knew, but I really like there was all these little lines that I was like, okay, obviously, but I really liked that. The payoff itself I didn't like as much as the build up, but the build up itself and all that, and even kind of what it meant for the story, I really enjoyed, especially because of what that specific person represented in the story until the reveal.
Yeah.
I see. That's a thing. I think it was one of those things where it was done well, in my opinion, but at the same time, when the reveal happened, I felt really disappointed in a way, not because I didn't feel like it was set up well or anything like that, but it just, like, what that character represented to me meant a lot. And it just was really upsetting to see that happen, because it's very, I don't want to say it's cliche, but it is like an often used trope. And it was, I don't know, I was kind of disappointed, not because the trope was used, but just because of I don't want people to be upset.
The book hadn't had so many other things going for it. I think I would have been way more disappointed with the reveal, just because I called who it was very early on. I also kind of called what was going on very early on. So I kind of spent the whole book going like, I know what's going to happen, but like the like main plot was so strong that I was okay with like that kind of not being as strong, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's not necessarily not strong, but just it's a little disappointing when I guess it so early on.
See, I didn't guess it. Not that early on, at least. I think maybe midway through the book, I was like, oh, okay. But I didn't guess it that early on. And I think that maybe was what made it so, like, what made me so sad about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like what you said about how it's not really, the villain reveal isn't necessarily part of the main plot. While it does like kind of all interconnect in the end, there's still so much going on, and like there's you know, everything Yadriel is going through. There's like his struggles with culture, and then there's like, you know, this whole mystery that's going on, and then there's also sort of the romance, which is kind of like sprinkled in for flavor.
When it came to like the villain side of things, like that's why I mentioned that the reveal portion was kind of weaker for me, just because the reveal portion itself and everything from that point onwards felt very weak compared to the rest of the novel, just because I feel like it wasn't used to like its like full, like it wasn't used as well as it could have been, but also just because like after the reveal it's like okay, and then it just kind of goes like by the numbers.
Yeah, honestly, I would have liked to see a little bit more. I don't know. I kind of want to see something more sinister happen in a way.
It felt like for me, it felt like it was pretty nuanced up until that point. And then that point is where it kind of became, instead of like a nuanced trope, it became an actual cliche. And that's where I was like, ugh.
I agree. The last kind of 50 pages is where it felt like a tiny bit flat for me. Not the epilogue necessarily, but kind of the third act of the story.
Yeah, I think the epilogue is what kind of like brought me back, because I felt the epilogue, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I really liked the epilogue.
Yeah.
I think just because you're so attached to these characters, you want to see them happy.
Yeah.
And so it was like RJ knows the villain. In a way, though, I kind of would have appreciated with the villain if there kind of had been a red herring.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like the whole time I knew exactly who it was going to be, and I know not everyone predicted that, but there was no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, in retrospect, like, even not being someone who predicted it that early on, in retrospect, there's nobody else it could have been, really, and that's what's a little bit disappointing for that.
Yeah, because there's no moment where it's like, well, who else could it be? The one thing that I found interesting when I was reading the book, but like it builds up to absolutely nothing, is that Yadriel's brother has like no screen time, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought that was gonna be an important plot point, because like up until that point I was like, well, like siblings can be strained. Like I've had strained moments with my sister, but then like by the end it was just very, they basically have like no relationship. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I kind of did expect him to play a little bit more of a bigger role, but it just kind of seems like two or three scenes where he shows up and it's just kind of like, not resentment necessarily, but like you said, like a strained relationship.
Because he's just kind of there, and it felt weird for me because majority of Yadriel's other family members all have like, not like an arc that they go through, but they have like moments in the story where they kind of help things kind of escalate, or they talk about things that like help build up the world more or build up a relationship with the Yadriel. Whereas his brother almost kind of feels like he just exists in the story to be like, okay, well, here's what he did, and nobody batted an eyelash. Whereas here's Yadriel, and everyone's like, oh, no, you, and that's...
I like this red herring theory about Miguel.
I think that would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Except they all experience that like pain in their chests when somebody dies. So it would have been interesting to see how he would have like faked that.
Well, I think that like, and granted, obviously it didn't happen in the story, but I definitely think that there's something that could have been done in the story to where, obviously, since this is a magical world and you can kind of more or less just make up whatever thing you want as long as it has some sort of like place in the plot. There could have been something interesting like that. And I think a reveal like that where I honestly think it might have been more interesting if even Miguel had been the villain, and all that buildup that we had beforehand, which felt kind of obvious. I mean, I know you didn't like get it at first, but like all that buildup could have been like, oh wait, he was the actual red herring, and here's what's actually going on.
Yeah, I would have appreciated that. And I forgot what I was going to say. His brother was gay, and they were going to go into that later on. Yeah, Yadriel's brother has like a close relationship with one of his friends, and then they just never mention it.
Yeah, they really don't focus on the brother.
Yeah, and it's like, I understand he serves this purpose of like, this is like what a like cis man within our community goes through, but at the same time I feel like Yadriel's like father being the leader of the Bruja community served the exact same purpose, because it's like, look at my father, he's like this ideal man, and he's like, all of these things, and like that's what a cisgender man in this like community experiences. And so in that regard, it just didn't really feel like the brother served a purpose.
Well, because like even outside of like the father, there's a lot of other cis like men that represent that brujo role, other than the brother, to where like the brother, he doesn't feel like he's tacked on, but he also doesn't feel like he actually plays like any importance here.
Yeah, I don't feel like he was like a last minute like, oh, you know what if we did this? I feel like he definitely was written into the story probably within like the first draft or two of it, and like was meant to serve this like larger purpose of like I said, like, this is what a cisgender man like experiences in our community, but it just, he wasn't there enough. Like you have that big scene where he's I don't remember the proper terminology, but he's, communicating with that ghost and like sending it back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of wondering.
Yeah.
I wonder about that too, because I mean, I could have seen a subplot there.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, there could have been a subplot there and it got cut because of pacing, which in the first 2/3, I would have been like, well, why cut it? It could have complemented it. But in the last third, I would have been like, yeah, well, no, cut this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the last third moved very quickly for me.
It did, because I read like all of the last third today.
Yeah. Didn't you start this yesterday?
Yeah.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. I did start it 2 days ago. But I did read the majority of it yesterday and today. And so I read the entirety of the last third today, and I just like kind of zoomed through it because it went by really quickly.
Yeah.
Well, like, I think the last third, it moved very fast for me. The problem is that I feel like a lot didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just basically 2 plot points. And are we going to get into spoilers now? Can we?
How long have we been live? 15 minutes? 16
Like, yeah, 16 minutes.
Yeah, might as well get into
spoiler time. If you don't want spoilers, we're getting into it.
Well, so RJ knows who the villain is at this point, and so I think we're good.
Yeah.
Speak now or forever hold your peace, y'all. Nobody said anything.
Okay, so the last third it serves just to really kind of do 2 plot points.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is to finally establish that Yadriel and Julian have an actual thing for each other. It's not a will they, won't they, or is it maybe misinterpretation? Like, that's one of the plot points.
Yeah.
And then the other one is just the villain reveal. And my like main issue with that was just the fact that the Julian and Yadriel stuff in the last third was really strong, but I felt like it completely broke up the pacing for me, because everything up until that point was like, mystery, we have to investigate. And then they were just like, oh no, we hit a dead end. And then like the rest is just the Julian and Yadriel stuff up until the main plot, which is like, it, like once it starts, then it keeps going. But at that point, I was like, well, 1, the pacing kind of got messed up. But like 2, the villain portion, like once we finally got to the villain portion, just felt kind of boring.
That's where I feel like a red herring really would have come in handy, because it's like you said, it's like, oh, we can't figure out what the end of this mystery is. Oh no, guess we have to stop investigating. But it would have been really interesting to see them solve the mystery and then get into their romance.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, no, you didn't.
I think that would have been really interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was like once it kind of shifted focus to their romance, I feel like it shifted completely away from like, the rest of the plot. And if that had like kind of integrated into each other better, like that would have been a little bit more compelling.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like the first like kind of the middle act of the book does so well, is that it has these little, not necessarily like romance, but it endears you so much to the relationship these 2 characters have with each other, especially the bit where Julian like scratches out Yadriel's dead name in the yearbook and writes.
That was the part I literally like posted an update on Twitter, and I was like, Julian, and did the eyes emoji. I was like,
the eyes emoji.
The big eyes. I was like, oh.
The one I use literally every 2 seconds. The uncle is doing a monologue, Sendel. It's the villain. Can we get listen? Sometimes I love a good monologue, but
what I didn't understand about the like final uncle reveal and the villain stuff is that at no point throughout all of that does he spend more than a sentence or 2 trying to convince Yadriel. Like, I thought that's what you should have used the monologue towards. And like, instead it just feels like he's like, Yadriel, you want to help? And then Yadriel's like, no. And then he's like, okay. Well, like, it's so quick.
Yeah.
It's so quick. And I was like, everything up until this point showed that they had a really strong relationship. And like, you can still argue that like that relationship is still kind of there. And like, he's just like, oh, okay, well, screw you. Cause like he wants to further his goals, even though he cares. But like, it didn't really feel like an actual, like, I didn't feel any conflict, and that's what kind of like didn't do it for me. Like, it felt like it was just way too easy to get to that point, if that makes sense.
What really like, I guess again, what really like upset me about the situation was that Yadriel's like two like pillars of support within his family are his uncle and Maritza.
Yeah.
And he has Maritza throughout the entire book. I love her, by the way.
Yeah.
She's incredible. But it's really, really upsetting to see that his uncle was like one of the characters that seemed to like, that was like the most supportive of him and was like, you know, go after, you know, what you want. And then to kind of have it be like his support be an ulterior motive. Yeah. That's what really upset me about it. Because I mean, I can't imagine that kind of like, not necessarily trauma, but like is the support of the people I love like hiding something? Yeah.
Well, because that's why I feel like it could have been more nuanced if he spent more time in the end trying to convince Yadriel, because then you could really get this vibe that it isn't like it's not like a coincidence, or it's not like a motive that he's been supporting his nephew all this time. It's instead been like, hey, like, I've always supported you, and I'm also doing bad things, and I would like you to like help me with that. Instead, at the end, it feels like, well, you should be able to understand why I'm doing these bad things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are we getting into things we disliked then? I know we have been talking about this one thing like specifically. Can I talk about something? I said something, I think I might have said this in the chat while I was reading it, but there's like one singular thing in this book that I know is like a petty thing to be bothered by, but repeatedly the usage of the phrase Lady Death. I don't know what it was about it, but I was like, why isn't it, because it's said in Spanish like once or twice, and then they just repeatedly translate it into English, and they just like, our patron, Lady Death was there. This and Lady, and I'm like, I don't know what it was about it, but I just didn't. It's a petty thing to like not like, but here
I think it's because like it feels kind of very like English speaker friendly.
Exactly, and I'm like, no, make me uncomfortable because please, make me feel like I'm not educated, please.
Yeah, there were several parts I didn't know what was being said, and I was like, great.
Yes, exactly. Because often in books that are like that involve other languages, they were like, they said this and this and this, which means, I'm like, no, don't translate that. And even there's like pointedly points where like Yadriel tries to translate something for Julian, and he's like, I speak Spanish. Yeah. There's always points in live shows where we just go
silent.
Well, I'm trying to think of like things that I didn't like other than the final third, but I truly just think up until the final third, like I was truly really like, because this book honestly started at a 5-star for me. Like the creepy atmosphere in the beginning was very engrossing, and then it was also a little bit more, how to say, it leaned a little bit more into the sort of like, not darker, but like it went a little bit more realistic, I guess I should say. Like it was more like ritually than I was expecting it to be. And so when like that stuff happened, I was like, oh, this story is a little bit different than I was expecting. And so like from that point onwards, I was like, ooh. And then like all the stuff that I kept seeing and all the stuff that like kept happening, I was like, oh my God, I'm really enjoying this. And part of that was also obviously because I was like, okay, this is kind of nostalgic because it's reminding me of things like in my own life. But then like it's that last third that really just fucked things up for me, because everything else up until that point I was like, yeah, this is great, 5 stars. So I think other than that, that's all I had issues with.
Yeah, I really love the way the setting is done in this.
Yeah,
because I really like urban fantasy. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I like paranormal, but like I truly believe now that there's a Brewhouse community, like just sequestered away in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
in the graveyard, which there truly could be, you know. And I like I said, like you said, I really like it manages to tell you a lot without being info dumpy in terms of like the culture and like specifically not just Latinx culture, but also like the Brewhouse community that is being described here. And I really loved like the fact that like everybody had their ears pierced because you know, when you're first born, you give like your blood sacrifice, and then like that, you know, the whole like thing where they like the tongue.
Yeah.
I really loved that.
I like just like the little details of how he kept like hurting his tongue when he was like burning it.
Yes.
That every single time he would be like, "Oh, I ate a hot food and it really hurt." Like I was like, this was, to me, it was really clever. Because I feel like sometimes something like that will happen in a book and like other authors will just kind of forget and be like, it's not an important detail. But Yadiel keeps repeatedly like hurting his tongue. And I loved that. I don't know what it was, but like just that little detail.
So now that we've talked about like who the villain is, I think I figured out that it was going to be him during like the second or third conversation that he had with Yadriel. I was like, oh no, it's him. Like, I don't know what it was that made me figure it out, but I just like knew. I was like, I think he was talking about like being an outcast or something, and I was like, oh, he's the villain. And then as soon as was it his abuela that told like the story of like the jaguar?
The swords.
Yeah. As soon as she started telling the story, I was like, oh, that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Keep it real with y'all. I forgot about the swords.
Because like she had mentioned them missing, and when she first mentioned them missing, did not like, you know, I was like, okay, whatever, something's missing. But then when she mentioned it again, I was like, And then she told the story and she talked about human sacrifices, and I was like, oh, that's what's happening here. Because I think by that point we knew Miguel was missing. We knew that Julian was dead. And I think by that point we might have known that like other street kids had gone missing, and I was like, oh, okay. So like that's when I pretty much knew what was going on with that.
Yeah, the second mentioning of the swords, because apparently they were mentioned in the beginning, and I just information gone in one ear, out the other. And then she like very blatantly in the last like 75 pages of the book is like, "Did you find those swords?" And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, see, as soon as because when she first brings up the swords, she brings them up at the same time that, if I remember correctly, I believe she pretty much misgenders Yadriel. And it's also the moment where Yadriel and his uncle are having like their first like actual conversation in the book, and all those three things put together, I was like, yeah, okay, here we are. This is the main plot. This is what we're going to get back to.
I was definitely distracted by the misgendering.
That's fair.
I was just like, I was fuming about it for a few minutes.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that part you're not really supposed to pay as much attention to like the jaguar claw thing, and it's like later. But I think I didn't pay attention to it, but then when it got mentioned again, I was like, that got mentioned earlier, and this getting mentioned twice, there's a reason.
I think the reason why I like hyper fixated on it at the beginning is just because when I was reading this, it was like a day or two before it was supposed to come out, so I had to get my NetGalley like video review up like pretty fast. So like while I was doing it like for the reviews and all that, I was taking a lot of notes and like not rereading portions, but spending more times like per page. So I think that might also be why.
Yeah, on the one hand, I do think some of the seeds were planted very well. On the other hand, like I said, to me it was very predictable.
Yeah.
But I am also someone that I feel like predicts plot twists slightly more easily than other people do. So I don't know, you know, how many people predicted it. But I predicted it so early on that I was like, oh, this is what's happening.
I think I just so
kind of
badly didn't
It was
want
just
it.
kind of disappointing because I knew exactly what was going to happen. I do still think, like, even if I predict plot twists, you know, the writing can really pull it through for me, and that's what it did here. Because I think if there weren't so many other things going for it, it would have been a 3-star for me because of how, like, predictable I found it. But there are so many other things going for it, so I didn't care as much.
Yeah.
I think this is a really, really strong debut. I'm really excited. What's the next book that they're writing? Lost in the Net.
Lost in the
Neverwood.
Let me check my Kindle.
Lost in the Neverwoods. I was right.
Okay, perfect.
But and isn't that book? Didn't they write that before this?
I believe so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they wrote that book before this one, but this was the one that got published first.
See, I'm excited about that then because I feel like maybe that other one will be a little bit more like personal, like maybe like more of like a passion project. I don't know if I'm am I making sense?
Yeah, I agree with what RJ said here. Like, even though the outcome was predictable, I liked the characters and I liked, you know, everything along the way. So I was like, it's fine that I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Definitely even with the predictability of the predictability of what happens, I think maybe if the third act had just had a little bit more like structure to it, I would have given this 4 stars, but it's still kind of at like 3.5. But yeah, honestly, it's really enjoyable. I think the audiobook was only like 12 hours.
Yeah.
If I ever reread it, I think I'd read the audio.
It's really good.
It is. Because the audio, when I was still reading it, when the book finally came out, and I had pre-ordered the audio, so then I did my audio physical, well, not physical, I guess, because it was an ebook, which I guess technically it's physical.
You are holding the thing.
But yeah, I was basically doing my combo reading that I usually do.
Yeah.
But like the audio really helps bring it to life, I feel. Like the person who narrates it is also really good at it.
Okay.
I like when they get people, like they did this for Felix too, where I really enjoy when they're narrating books by like with teenagers, where they get narrators who are a little bit more young sounding.
Yeah.
And with this one too, the narrator had a little bit more of like a what's the word I'm looking for?
Je ne sais quoi.
No. What's the word I'm looking for? Not ambiguous. Androgynous. Like
okay.
A more androgynous voice. Which I really appreciated. And also it's just like really nice because I don't speak Spanish. So to have somebody who probably actually like knows how to like pronounce these words that are in Spanish is really helpful.
I think that's a reason I want to like reread it via audio is there's some things that I was like, I don't know how to pronounce this.
Yeah.
Well, if you had hit me with the term Brewhex like 2 weeks ago, I'd have been like, what? Like, I know what you're trying to say, but my brain can comprehend how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Now I want the audio. I think it's on Scribd if you have Scribd, which I appreciate. Oh no! Stop.
Okay, but I feel like Ernesto de la Cruz like kind of had like more entertainment value.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So Mulan was my favorite Disney movie for like ages. Not the live action Mulan. Do not say words, RC.
I just think the way that the witch has all of those powers,
3,
and then at the end,
no,
See, stop. There will only be 2 bibliophiles here.
Leah does have the power to kick you out.
Oh no! Not me getting called a wetback on a Latinx book live show.
Yes.
Why do you do this every live stream? Every live stream.
You do this every live show.
I can use a different slur.
No.
Stop. Oh, God.
I hate it here. We have a white in the building, RC. Anyways, Mulan was my favorite Disney movie. Not live action Mulan was my favorite Disney movie for a very long time. And then 2 years ago, Coco was available on a flight that I was on, and it was like a transatlantic flight. And when I tell you, I cried so hard. The lady in front of me woke up and asked if I was okay. I was like, no.
I saw it in theaters and I was a fucking mess the last like 8 minutes.
Yeah, I watched it with a bunch of friends in college and I was just like sobbing.
Here's the thing, at least in the theater, you were with other people who were witnessing what you were witnessing. I was alone out there. Which is why I only watch comedies on flights now.
Oh boy.
I think we wanted to potentially try streaming Coco, or what was our other suggestion?
The Book of Life?
The Book of Life. But we can't find them anywhere. Which is really upsetting. I saw it with some aunts who did not shed a single tear. They're so strong. I could never.
I cried everything.
What?
Okay, at the mention of the aunts, something that I didn't get to talk about yet that I really, really loved in this book was literally the moment where Yadriel has to like con his family into being able to like, I think it was that he needs to sneak Julian out, and it's like all of the like aunts and stuff and like are there in the family, and he says, "Oh, I'm not feeling well," and they all immediately
the vapor rub and
like that part had me cackling because it was like without hesitation. As soon as he said that, they were like, "Oh."
I love that universal experience of like walking into a room full of your aunts saying you're not feeling well and immediately having like 12 different solutions.
Yeah.
They descended. They really did. They were like, I can help.
Yeah, there were so many just like small details in this book that worked so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was a fun book.
Yeah.
And it went by pretty quickly. Like, I was a little worried because I was starting it late. I was like, oh no. But, like, all the chapters flew by really fast.
This book has something that I really like in a lot of books, like any genre, and I know it's more present in YA, but this is just something that I really like, and that's short chapters.
Yes,
like
I love short chapters.
I understand that for some authors, they like to have very, very long chapters, and, you know, everyone's entitled to their own writing style, but as someone who writes and reads, I vastly love short chapters because, one, I feel like the sense of accomplishment is like,
exactly.
You get that, and I feel like that helps you continue further. But also short chapters, I feel like unless it's like a book where you need to sow this really weird long dread like certain thrillers, then I'm like, why do you need this really long chapter that's going absolutely nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of authors expect, or at least like want to have full arcs in every chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, I like short chapters because then, like, if I get through them really quickly, I'll be like, oh, I can read another chapter right now. Or, like, I'll get to the end of the chapter and I'm like, oh, that's the end of the chapter. Like, I need to keep reading. I need to read another chapter. So it just, like, gets me through books so much faster. Versus, for example, one book I have been reading for, like, 2 months now.
Women.
No, not that one.
Little Women.
Shadows, which I'm reading with
Is Lord of Shadows your Lady Midnight?
Well, Lord of Shadows is now Reagan's new Lady Midnight also, because Reagan and I are both struggling through it. But the chapters are so long, like for no good reason. And it's like in each chapter, she also tries to focus on like every single character in the book. So it'll be like one plot thread for each character, but then it'll go to another character. And so there's like 6 different plot threads in each chapter, and I'm like, for goodness sakes, just tell me one plot thread.
The thing I dislike about, well, I mean, it's not the only thing I dislike about Cassandra Clare's writing.
There's other things you dislike? My doxing queen!
No. No. But yeah, she'll start a chapter at one character's perspective, jump around like 3 times, and then by the end of it, you don't have a resolution for the first character's perspective. And the chapter
you have to read another chapter, but by the time I finish one chapter, I'm like, I'm ready to go to sleep. Like, it's so long. And like, that's the thing, is I like also books that have short chapters, because I don't like stopping reading in the middle of a chapter. When I like take a break from a book, I like it to be at a chapter break. And so with that book, like I finish one chapter and I'm just done. Because like I can't read anymore, because I'm like, this is a commitment. Versus like a book like this, I could pick up and read 1 or 2 chapters as like if I only had a few minutes.
Yeah.
We have been, so everybody, I feel like everybody else who hasn't been involved in our friend groups, Buddy Read of a Little Life, has finished it. I am still stuck on so the book has like 5 parts to it. Each part is broken up into like 3 chapters. But the thing is, the chapters are so friggin' long that I keep having to stop in between chapters. Or not in between chapters, but like mid-chapter. Oh, my computer did something weird. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw it go dark for a second. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it does this really weird thing where every hour, at the 43rd minute of the hour, it decides to show me what emails I have.
Why at the 43rd minute of the hour?
I don't know, but it's really irritating, because sometimes I'll be like live streaming or like watching a TV show and it'll just go dark and I'm like, you're plugged in.
Do you have like a malware on there?
No, I don't think so. Sounds like a productive ghost. No, I don't need to know what emails I have. I check my email like every 3 minutes anyways.
But yeah, I love short chapters. Like the chapter lengths in this book I thought were really good.
Yeah. Well, like when I'm doing my own writing, and I know everyone does like their writing a little bit different, but I always treat my chapters as kind of being like, for perspective, like a scene of a movie. And so that's usually about the length that I like to do them. I usually like for there to be something that either gets like said in this chapter, or something that gets revealed, or like some sort of interaction, but like to basically serve as like a scene. Yeah. And there's which one is it? Okay, so for Infinity War, there's a director's commentary that I listen to. Yeah. And one of my favorite things for a writing perspective is to listen to director's commentaries. And like the method that they have for scene writing in that movie is something that I really, really liked. At least like what they said, like they set out for every scene. Because I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like that movie, I mean, I really love that movie. I think that one's probably one of the stronger ones. But like the way that they set out to like write those scenes and have like things progress, I was like, yeah, yeah. I forget what it was now.
You went on this whole thing and you were like, they said this amazing thing.
They said this amazing thing?
I agree with you when it comes to like using director's commentaries and that kind of analysis when it comes to writing. There's this really, really fantastic YouTube channel. I don't think he uploads as often as he used to anymore, because I think he's very Patreon focused now. But it's run by this dude named Michael, and the YouTube is called Lessons from the Screenplay, where he...
Oh.
Do you know him?
Yes.
He's fantastic. But he takes one thing that a movie does really, really, really well and focuses on it. He did this like really, like the first video I think I saw of his was like called The Anatomy of the Obsessed Artist. And he compared Whiplash, the Miles Teller movie, to what's the Natalie Portman movie where she does ballet? Black Swan?
Star Wars. Oh, I mean Black Swan.
Black
I haven't
Swan.
seen that, but yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it was called Black
Star
Swan.
Wars?
Star Wars?
Was that? I couldn't tell. Was that an RC joke, or were you like, is your reaction to Natalie Portman Star Wars?
Look, you asked me what movie I think of first with Natalie Portman, and the first one's gonna be wrong. I'm gonna say Pirates of the Caribbean, but the second one, I know, but they all look the same to me. Keira Knightley, Natalie Portman, and Winona Ryder.
Like Natalie Portman.
Which one's in Pride and Prejudice?
Isn't that Winona? Also, I've never seen the Pride and Prejudice movie.
There's two, first of all.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never watched anything that's an adaptation outside of Lizzie Bennett. I have no desire, honestly.
This is the next movie night.
Aww.
Screw superhero movies. We're watching both Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice. Oh.
Oh my god, the one that gets killed. My point being, I really enjoy watching that YouTube channel to kind of get like story writing tips because there's just so much there.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley was in. I think that's
Yeah, no, she actually was.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, see, like it's not completely off base that I confuse them. But I mean, you know, George Lucas may have done a lot of really, really dumb things with the prequels, but that's one of the things I will
you don't even have to. No, just George Lucas did a bunch of really dumb things. End of sentence.
George Lucas did a lot of really dumb things. All right, time to end the stream.
I mean, we have this conversation about lookalikes all the time because of when we watched Dark Phoenix, and I was gonna say Bryce Dallas Howard was in it, but it's not Bryce Dallas Howard. It was.
Oh my god, what is her name?
What's her name?
What's her name? Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain. Thank you. Wait, and who's the one I find attractive?
Bryce Dallas Howard, I think.
No.
The third one.
The third one. Oh, Nicole Kidman. Which I don't understand.
I don't think Nicole Kidman looks like them, but Jessica Chastain and Bryce Dallas Howard look like exactly the same.
No, but to me, Bryce Dallas Howard and Nicole Kidman look exactly the same.
I don't understand that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like the girl from Sex Education and Margot Robbie.
Oh, you're falling into
Yeah, welcome to the middle of the stream where we stop.
Where we go on a tangent and just devolve into chaos because this happens every time.
Every single time.
I mean, like, for once we spent like the first solid 35 minutes without really any tangent away from the book.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk about crying.
Okay, but like the crying was the start of the tangent.
That's true.
I have no idea what their
Listen,
heights are.
I don't know who's short. I don't know who's tall. I just know that they're all white women with like reddish hair.
Is Bryce the one who's in the Office?
Bryce Howard wasn't. No.
What?
Well, then which one's the one that's in the Office? The redhead, the Kimmy Schmidt girl.
Oh, Erin. No, her name's Erin in The Office. Oh my god, what's her name? Why can't I remember her name? Kimmy Schmidt, actress. Oh my god, what was her name? Ellie Kemper. I thought you were talking about Amy Adams and
Oh, and the receptionist.
who plays Pam Beesly? Freak, I hate this. I haven't seen.
Discount Amy Adams.
No, you can't call her that. Jenna Fisher.
Jenna Fisher.
This is so much. Have you ever seen? Oh my god. Have you ever seen? I'm not on TikTok, but there's this like woman who does these like dating webs, and she'll take like literally like any like the cast of Glee, the cast of Jersey Shore, any like celebrity that you can think of, and she'll create these like dating webs of like this person dated this one, this person was engaged to this one, this person has beef with this one, and it somehow it all leads back to Bobby Flay.
What?
Yeah.
Bobby Flay?
Yes, Bobby Flay and his many affairs.
RC's facial expressions.
How? Like, out of all the people I would have expected to be like the common denominator, Bobby Flay?
Bobby Flay. It always leads back to Bobby Flay. Listen, my friend and I have had really, really intense like FaceTime conversations about these celebrity dating webs, and we've created one of our own for NHL players. Are y'all aware that the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, Jonathan Taves, slept with Snooki? Like, of all the people.
I don't pay attention to sports, so I never would have known that.
No, but he's the captain. He's a Canadian dude. He's the captain of a hockey team in Chicago. Would you have guessed that he slept with Snooki?
No.
Who's Bobby? Bobby Flay is like a celebrity chef. He had like multiple TV programs on the Food Network. He has a lot of affairs, apparently. Aiden Thomas, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry.
It's always amusing to me to see what direction our tangents go into.
This is not one that was on the bingo board for me.
Do you have an official bingo board?
No, I don't think so.
I remember Val made it the bingo.
Oh, well, we have that one, yeah.
Have we ever posted that?
I don't think we have.
I think
it's
Val
somewhere in the group chat.
Find it.
I posted it on Twitter a while ago, but we should repost it again.
I would like to find it. Is it on like our the Bibliophiles Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay, I will find it because it's important to me right now. We should
like the horniest people.
Who?
Celebrities, they're like the horniest people.
Well, there's like what's holding them back.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here is the Bibliophiles bingo board. Queer. Wait, okay. So I guess it's mark all the boxes that you either seen, participated in, or applied to you. Being queer, following our Twitter, the cow behind Val, which you can't do right now because Val's a long tangent. Got that one. Seeing your comment on the screen, we've been highlighting a lot of comments because RC's not handling it tonight.
Yeah.
Y'all act like I
never
highlight comments.
I forget
highlight
comments.
Yeah, honestly, I forget.
Hold on. I put my phone down. Reading the book. The RC laugh. We haven't gotten the RC laugh yet tonight.
We haven't gotten the RC laugh yet. I think we came close with like the aunts discussion, but it didn't quite go in that direction.
Having read Sorcerer of the Will Deeps, which Leah can't.
I cannot count that.
Book Twitter drama. Has there been any of that recently?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, this isn't like, so this isn't YA book Twitter drama. This is a Romance Landia Twitter drama. So you know it's hot. Okay, so I've been watching Lindsay Ellis for like 2 years, but I spent about 2 hours earlier watching 2 videos from her. And basically the first video is about, do y'all know what the Omega verse is?
Stop.
Okay, so
I actually try to avoid.
No, we're not. No.
So basically, what it boils down to, I won't spend much more time. I will just say.
I know Leah's not monetized, but this stream is gonna get demonetized.
No, I'm not gonna say any of the words. I know, like, not to say that.
What if there are babies in the chat?
I mean, don't we regularly like say things that wouldn't be like super friendly? Or is that just me?
Be as vague as humanly possible. Otherwise, I will drive to Texas. No, I will not.
Hi, Andy.
Okay.
Hi, Andy.
To be as vague as possible, which is pretty much what I was going to do, an author was accusing another author of plagiarizing her works for using the exact same tropes that are in almost all of these projects.
Oh.
And it spiraled to then, after Lindsay Ellis made her video, now the author is targeting her and several other people with lawsuits for defamation and like using her works for monetization and all these different things. And I'm just like, this is so stupid.
So she's claiming she invented the Omegaverse.
Basically, like
Hey.
she's claiming she invented the Omegaverse, and then she's also claiming that like Lindsay Ellis is involved in some sort of ploy to like discredit her and like completely ruin her name.
We can't have this never mind. I can't. I was gonna say something, but we can't have that conversation. Anyways, talking about the Raven cycle. We haven't done that. Okay, we're not going to because I refuse. I guess
I think that's because our first stream we went on like a half an hour tangent about the Raven cycle.
I mean, the best character in that is Blue, so.
Oh, Sara!
Sara was like, no, she ain't.
I'm so sad. Where did Sara go? Oh, she's back.
I'm so sorry. I closed my tab on accident.
I was like, damn, Sara.
A guest co-host, which we don't have, having Ned Labyrinth Lost, Free Space, attending a live show. You're all here. Leah wearing plaid.
Oh, I should have worn my plaid.
I was gonna wear my plaid today. Oh my god.
We can always do plaid in November.
We'll all wear plaid and not tell them. Mentioning of Evelyn Hugo. Val's not here right now, so there has been none of that.
That's true.
Changing the date or time of our live. We did do that.
We did do that.
Watching a replay of the live, you can all cross out that bingo if you do that.
What word is that?
Bingbo. Said with confidence. Bye. Reading the stars and the blackness between them. Chaotic energy, always.
Always.
DNFing our pick. I don't think anybody has said that they've done that so far.
No, the only time that happened was when me and Val DNF'd Source of the Wild.
The mentioning of Beartown.
Wow, we've gotten this the whole time without you mentioning Beartown.
Okay, let's.
Who are you?
Okay, here's the thing, y'all. Name 2 other books that I like.
Okay.
RC.
Okay.
Is RC gonna go next?
I am, but I'm building up for
I hate you.
Say, each of you name 2 other books that I like.
Wait, we each have to name 2 other books?
Yeah.
The Bear and the Rainbow.
Okay. I'm tapping out.
None of you pay attention to me.
I just named 2.
What did
Okay,
you
no. Here's the thing.
I said The Starless Sea and The Bear and the Nightingale.
Okay, thank you, Leah. Thank you for paying attention to me. RC?
Okay, here's the thing. You're so loud about Beartown and First Class that everything else is pretty much like those are the only things.
Okay.
that
list 2 books Leah likes that aren't Check Please or Gideon the Ninth.
Okay.
Gideon the Ninth for Sara.
I do like Gideon the Ninth. Thank you. Here's the thing. Everybody in the chat actively said to me, I forgot you read that book. And I was like, okay.
You're part of the reason I finally read it.
Did you see how I shrugged and my hair didn't move?
RC is struggling right now.
RC doesn't pay attention to me.
No. Hold on. It's coming to me. It'll come. I have short-term memory when it comes to things. This is why I write things down. Y'all know this.
I read 95 books last year and I've read 70-something this year. You can name 2 of them that I've enjoyed. My bookshelf is right there.
Carry On.
No.
Did I say Carry On? What I meant was Wicked Saints.
No, that's not even on my bookshelf.
Did I say Wicked Saints? What I meant was the Chain of Gold.
I haven't even read that book yet.
Did I say Chain of Gold? What I meant
Now I'm going
was
to challenge the chat to name 2 books that Sara likes and 2 books I like before RC can.
Yeah, okay. So somebody has already said Gideon the Ninth for me.
Mm-hmm.
If RJ names one more book that I like, RJ wins.
Thank you, Andy.
It's necessary.
Do we have a bullying? We don't have a bullying RC thing.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that isn't on there.
Do that every time.
I'm very bullyable.
You really are.
You really are.
You really are. Sara being the mom of the group.
And the bully.
And the bully. That's,
Which is basically a mom.
Wattpad and Dream. I don't think I've ever read a Wattpad book.
No, I'm just curious to see
what the chat thinks about our reading taste. So my point being,
Sara, which ones did you say for me that RC can't say?
Oh,
Gideon,
please.
Yeah.
I was going to exclude one more, but you know what? I will allow it if he can name it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, obviously, all three of us absolutely adored Redlands.
Stop. I think that was my first 1-star of the year.
It wasn't my first 1-star of the year.
It wasn't my first 1-star.
What else did I 1-star this year?
No, it wasn't one of my first.
Oh, one of yours. Okay.
RJ said The House in the Cerulean Sea for Leah, which is correct.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't use that.
In
the chat.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Leah does love middle game.
I mean, Leah loves Monday's Not Coming.
You're saying that because I buddy read that with you.
Yeah, that's true. That's why, I was trying not to do buddy reading.
I know. I could see you thinking of books and going, "We buddy read that."
I can't use the buddy reads because it's very obvious.
Okay, off the top of my head, RC loves Black Sun. RC loves.
Okay, but that was literally in my Twitter name.
Is it?
It was.
I, book, so.
I changed my Twitter name daily.
You change your Twitter name all the time.
Yeah, I change it daily.
I have mine, I think, twice this year because I went from Sara to Sara Loves BTS back to Sara with the sparkle emoji always. Yeah. And now I'm Sara but spooky.
The only time I changed was from Leah to Leo Lantern.
I change every 24 to 48 hours.
You really do, and it's you also really love Labyrinth Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I really, really liked it, but I didn't love it.
Oh God, what's that new? The Katie Zhao book.
The Dragon Warrior.
The Dragon Warrior.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you really like that book.
Course of 1,000 Lanterns, 5th season.
Yes. And you can't even name a singular book that I like.
Look.
Look. This is misogyny, I think.
Oh. You know, I think it's funny.
Back on RC.
You know what, Sara? As someone who scored an 80% on a lesbian quiz, can I just say...
No. You can't say anything. No words, please.
Yes, RC and I both love Monday's Not Coming.
I really need to read Monday's Not Coming. I attribute it to Reagan though, especially because it's on her 5 books list.
Yeah, I think RC and I loved it, but then Reagan read it after us, and I think she loves it even more.
Yeah.
Reagan if you can name a singular book on my 5 books list that isn't Beartown or The Starless Sea. There's 3 options there.
Well, I mean, I have the list of books that I'm reading for Sarathon. Leah said one of them already, The Starless Sea.
Yeah.
Gosh, what else did I have on there other than Beartown? And I can't look at the list because that's cheating.
That is cheating. This is the funniest.
This is really funny.
This is so funny. Andy, at least you can name things I like, because Andy pays attention.
I pay attention. It's just, look, you have to understand.
What am I understanding?
Yeah, what are we understanding here?
because of circumstances, obviously, like with October being Preptober for NaNoWriMo, my mind isn't as active as usual.
Also, I would like to recall the fact that you said you are so loud about fifth class, first class. When there is definitely a movie I am much louder about.
I mean, Moonlight.
There we go. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
I was like, if you weren't gonna remember that one.
No, I remember Moonlight. It would be weird not to remember Moonlight.
Because that's what we need to watch when we do each other's favorite movies.
Yes, that's gonna be such a fun time.
I know that you like The Disaster Artist and The Room.
I'm not like.
Okay, no, I know. I'm just saying like.
I mean, yes, I enjoy those movies.
I know you thought La La Land deserved the award.
There's only 2 bibliophiles now. This has become an anti. No.
This is cracking me up.
He still hasn't said anything that I enjoy.
Hold on.
Literally, my bookshelf is right here.
Yeah, but I can't like super see your bookshelf right now. Hold on, let me full screen. Okay. Yeah, I still can't like super see your bookshelf.
This is hilarious.
He's squinting.
He's squinting at the box.
Do you want to be the 4th bibliophile?
Oh, okay. You know, this is one. You love Crooked Kingdom.
I mean, yes, I did enjoy Crooked Kingdom. But
you also enjoyed
So the ongoing joke on my channel is that I keep saying I'm going to read the Priory of the Orange Tree, and then I never do.
I haven't read it either, but I plan on.
Maybe buddy read. Yeah, you could go on Goodreads.
What, I can? But isn't that cheating?
Oh, that's true.
Like, that's the whole reason I haven't even broken out the list yet. To be fair, I have y'all's favorites in a list.
Is definitely cheating.
Okay, but here's the thing. If I can put something in a note or in a list, I typically won't memorize it.
That's weird.
That's why I'm telling you. So we talked about this yesterday, how... Sorry, I just clicked my tripod. I forgot it was there. Why are your
Your eyes are so...
Your expression went.
Well, yeah, the sound, I was like, what is...
I clicked my tripod. We were talking about how yesterday, statistically, not statistically, it's just proven. It's proven that if you write something down, like handwrite it, you are like significantly more likely to remember it.
Yeah.
Which is why I try not to type my notes. Try is the operative term.
Yeah.
Where do I sign up for the Pride and Prejudice watch? Hopefully, I mean, I'm going to. I was going to say this in our little movie.
Or what?
Watching chat. There we go. Go.
Oh no.
We got the RC laugh. We got the RC laugh.
We got the RC laugh. Take for this question. Not well.
How's Little Women going?
I
like how it's within arm's reach.
Well, it's because I put several of the books I'm currently reading like right next to my bed recently, and I have a little setup there now. But
you got bingo, RJ.
Nice. I am still on I got to page 390.
How many pages?
That was a while ago. There are 777 pages in this.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't touched that in a while. But I think I'm going to try to dedicate November to like getting through my currently reading.
I feel like you say that every month. Do you remember when we first, when we all first became friends and RC's, currently reading on Goodreads was, scrollable? Like, you could go through
Mine
that
is very
show.
scrollable.
That was the first time I ever yelled at you, I think.
Yeah. Y'all made me literally clean it out, and then, now it's, slowly getting back to that point.
I did my video where I talked about all the books I'm currently reading, and I think the number might be, 2 books smaller, but it's about the same because I finished reading several of the books, but a bunch of them I'm still reading, and I added some, so it's about as bad as it was before.
I feel like I know it in my head, I know it does not matter how long my currently reading is, but right now on my currently reading, I have A Little Life, I have Fable, which I started because I refused to lose our challenge in our group chat. I have
Let me see
The Foxhole Court.
The Foxhole.
And the fact that I was about to start what's in my TBR stack right now. Oh, I'm about to start the boys graphic novel because my friend, my work wife Helen, said I should read certain volumes of the graphic novel before I watch season 2, and I'm about to start that. And the fact that my currently reading is going to be 4 books, hit of anxiety in my stomach. I don't know why.
So on my currently reading, I have Cemetery Boys, so I can update that. But since my video happened, the ones I've added are Motor Crush Volume 2, which RC and I are buddy reading. The Hunting Party, which I'm listening to on audio, and Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I started reading for a readathon, and I read 1 or 2 chapters, and I have not touched it since.
I haven't done a readathon in ages.
Same.
It just hasn't been on my mind, especially since I know my reading productivity at the beginning of the year was maybe 10, 11 books per month. Which for me as a full-time student was fantastic. But then as of late, as of the day we are doing this live show, which is the 24th of October, I have read maybe including Redlands 5 books this month.
I'm gonna show all the books I'm actively currently reading because those are the ones next to me.
Are you gonna hold it up? Andrew.
Oh my god, we can get the bookmarks!
No!
2021 bookmarks!
The bookmarks that look like SJM, repackaged spines.
Yeah, the better covers.
I haven't started on here because I was going to start it. I have this book, which I haven't started. Also, I don't have Motor Crush over here, but I have Little Women, Leviathan, which I'm halfway through.
I love Leviathan.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm reading it for a video. This middle grade book, which I have less than 100 pages left in, I'm just going through it really slowly for some reason. I have the 5th season, which I haven't touched in 2 months, which I really, really enjoyed so far, but I hit a reading slump right after getting into this, and I just never got back to it. Then I am still reading.
Race and Ruin.
No,
I'm a little over halfway through.
Weren't you at the
same Heartless?
Oh my god. Rachel, to answer your question, I did not know that was a thing, but next month our book pick is Alazzo by Darcy
Little Badger.
I always forget. By Darcy Little Badger, which is an Indigenous book.
Yeah.
I know. Here's the thing: is actively, I know that there are books that I own that correspond to so many identities, but the idea of finding all of them, it's the mom voice, Andy. Come on.
I just need to not agree to any reading challenges because my problem is that I keep wanting to get through my currently reading, and then I'm oh, I need to do these reading challenges, and then I change up my TBR for that, and then everything falls to chaos.
Another thing is you keep agreeing to buddy reads with the rest of us.
No, It's the FOMO. The FOMO messes me up every time because I would have finished Cemetery Boys much earlier, and I probably would have finished. I'm focused on reading Leviathan right now, so I probably would have finished that by this point too. But I got sucked into a joking buddy read of the Foxhole Court, and I was like, I'm probably going to DNF this. And then I read the entire series in less than 48 hours.
So for everybody without context, last month while a few of us and our friends were on like a video call just randomly at some point, I think we were doing productivity sprints, I jokingly suggested, because RC has never read the Foxhole Court, and I truly think that is the chaotic series to end all chaotic series. And RC is one of the most chaotic people I know. I was like, well, what if we buddy read the Foxhole Court? As a joke, mind you. But everybody, yes.
I want to say something. I was not present in this video call, and I have been... No, I wasn't.
Well, you were at least in the conversation in the chat after.
No. I got told that we were reading it, and I said, hey, why don't we read this in November? Because y'all wanted me to read it. Because since I'm doing
in November.
Yeah, that's when I came in. I was like, RC is only saying that because he is not reading anything in November.
Exactly. Because I was trying to get out of it.
To read it this month. But I said it as a joke, and then it became very much not a joke because of the people that we associate with. And mind you, like when we were actually talking about this, the entire time we were talking about this, Leah kept repeatedly saying, I'm not going to read it. Yeah. And she just like was like, I just don't think it's going to be something I enjoy. I've heard the trigger warnings. I've heard everybody talk about it. I know I'm going to DNF it. And you went on this, like, it was like 10 minutes of you just being like, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it. And then eventually I got fed up and I was like, fine, Leah, don't read the book. And 2 minutes later, she was like, but the FOMO.
FOMO gets every time. That's how you
get it. Here's the thing is I knew that was going to happen. I knew the second I agreed, the second I was like, you don't have to read it. I knew that. And he sent me, you were like, well, FOMO. And I started cackling. And then again, you went back to I'm not going to read it. And when we actually started the chat for reading the book, you were like, well.
I got into that chat. I don't know if I'll read it, but, and then as soon as I saw other people starting it, I was like, well, I have to read it. So I started it. And then I finished it before, you and Izza were rereading it, but I finished it before anyone else who hadn't read it before read it. And then it's bad. Let me tell you, like it's bad. Okay. I have so many problems with it, but it is addicting. And if you get attached to the characters, you're done. You're done. And that's what happened to me. I got attached, and then I read the entire trilogy in less than 48 hours.
It was almost less than 24 hours.
Yeah, I read two and a third of the books in 24 hours.
It was so funny to witness.
Because Sara was like totally expecting me to DNF the book.
Oh, I was expecting you to DNF.
Because this is not your like speed in terms of you're very like strict to your morals, I would say. And if something upsets you and you're not obligated to read it, you will stop reading it. And I really admire that about you. Because I will push past something even if it irritates me. For no reason. Like I end up irritating myself further in the process. It's bad reality TV. It is.
But like the characters here's what got me is that my favorite trope is the found family trope. And that's what got me.
It gets everybody. I don't know. I don't know anybody personally who has read this series and actually been like, oh my God, it's so good.
Because it's not good. Like, if I was rating it on pure enjoyment factor, the first two books would get 4 stars and the last book would get 5 stars. However, I rated them 2, 2, 3 because I had so many other problems with them. I think I had the least problems with book 3 because some of the like more problematic things are not
present
in book 3. So I was like, great. Plus, book 3 made me cry like a baby. So book 3 got 3 stars.
Andy, 13 Reasons Why was a book.
I mean, not a book series, though.
But it was a book. Is this the Foxhole Court tangent? Yes, this is the Foxhole Court tangent. Also, just on shows, I started watching Julie and the Phantoms.
I haven't even watched that.
What's Julie and the Phantom? Oh, is that the one that I talked about? It looked like Teen Wolf.
I don't know. I don't know what it's about.
I am currently watching. So I just finished season 1 of The Boys, and I'm gonna wait until I read those graphic novels to watch season 2. But I just started watching Kim's Convenience, which is so freaking funny, but also it really like it's really at first the first episode is not great. It's funny, but at the same time you're like, this is kind of bordering on like a little bit offensive. But it's not in like the like typical TV sitcom type way. Like it kind of rectifies its mistakes later on, but it gets you in the like if you are like first gen immigrant or you are like the child of immigrants, prepare to be hurt. It's really good though.
Bly Manor, I finished yesterday, and people warned me. I was told, Leah, you will cry during episode 9. And I was like, okay, I'm prepared. I will cry in episode 9. And for the first 20 minutes, I was like, I'm fine. And then I think for the last 40 minutes of the episode, I think I wasn't crying for 5 of those minutes.
What I really love about Leah is that everybody knows when she's going to cry, and then it's consistent.
It is.
I haven't watched Love Victor yet. I think it's because I don't have good Hulu. I have Spotify Hulu.
I also have Spotify Hulu.
It has ads every like 30 seconds, and I do not have the patience for that.
Yeah. Same, Andy. But Love Victor, I thought it was like a little bit cheesy, and like, you know, it's a teen show, and that you kind of expect that with a teen show, so I was fine with it. But it did make me cry. Paw Patrol is scary. It's
Paw Patrol. I'm not trying to clown you, I promise.
I mean, we've all liked things that were maybe not the best.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing is I objectively think it's terrible, but if you look at my ratings, it is 4.45.
Which is
I stand by that.
Which, like I said, if I rated it based on solely enjoyment, that's what I would have rated them.
Yeah. I went on solely on enjoyment. I think, like, I look back at a lot of things that I read last year, and it was definitely like the beginning of when I was starting to read again. And so I gave so many high ratings last year that like now I look back on them and I'm like, for instance, like Crooked Kingdom. I gave Crooked Kingdom 5 stars. And now I'm looking back on it and I'm like, I mean, was it that good? Not that it's bad or anything like that, but but like looking back, that's definitely the rating. I stand by my Foxhole Court rating based on enjoyment alone.
Also, I literally gave the first 2 books 2 stars, and I already know I will reread them in the future, and I'm angry about it. Especially, I want to reread book 3 so badly, like right now. But I'm like, I can't. I have so many books on my TBR, but I want to reread it right now. I've also read a lot of fan fiction, and the fan fiction is making me want to reread even more. And I'm like,
well, so maybe it's the fact that last year I read the first book by myself, and then Izza and I buddy read the third, like the trilogy together. And having reread it and like having like read fan fiction in the span between all of those rereads, I think somehow like reading the fan fiction made me go into the books, even though I'd already read them, thinking it would be better than it was.
Yeah, well, because some of the fan fiction is so good. And it's just like the writing quality is improved.
Yes. Yeah, Rachel, that's exactly what this is. It is absolute like hot garbage. It's incredibly problematic in a lot of ways. But at the same time, and I will never ever actively tell anybody to read these books. Like I will, like I said, jokingly propose buddy reads with like people I like know very, very well. But like I work at a bookstore. We don't even sell these books, but I work at a bookstore and I would never, ever, ever sell these books to anybody.
Yeah, like I would never recommend these to someone. I think if it was like a friend and I was like I would maybe tell them to read it, but I would tell them like
a joke.
To do it as a joke, and also I would give them some warnings beforehand because
it's the thing. It's like if somebody was like, I need a trashy read, and it was somebody like I know well enough to like. Because here's the thing: is I knew that you guys going into it would not judge me for having read this and enjoyed it, but like somebody who I know less well, and if they're like, I need something trashy, I'm not going to give them this.
Yeah.
Like
that's why I'm so afraid of like talking about it in my wrap up, because I'm like, everyone is going to judge me for being attached to these books.
I made its own separate video about it, and it's the only video where I have more than one dislike. The like to dislike ratio, like every single time I look at it, I'm like, oh, people do not like this video. But most of the time it's a lot of like younger people who are like, I really enjoy these books.
Yes, the fanfic.
Incredible fan fiction.
I'm going to be honest, part of the reason I got delayed even more in finishing Cemetery Boys is because ever since I finished the series, I have not stopped reading fanfiction.
Okay, we've gone on tangents.
We have gone on.
About an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. So we really hope that you guys join us next month when we read a lot. So we will. What day is that live show on?
The 23rd.
23rd of November.
I think so.
No, didn't we push back to December?
Did we?
I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. We pushed it back to December, and then So
yes, our a lot so live show will be on December 5th. So first Saturday in December. We decided to push it back. The same thing is probably going to happen for our December live show. It'll still be our December book, but it'll be a New Year's live show. Or not like New Year's Day, but,
close
to. We really hope that you guys join us. We will probably be going on more tangents because we are ourselves and we like talking to each other and talking to you guys. So, bye, everyone.
All right. See y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Time to do the long extended wave.